Hey, my name is Brett Barkos, and welcome to song number 5. So this video is going to be another how to play type video. The song actually jumps in a note of 3/4 and 4/4 timing, so I will say when each time signature is being used. This first riff, which is the intro riff, is in 3/4 timing. So the riff goes like this. So the riff starts on the low E string. Once again, the song is in drop C sharp tuning. I'm just referring to the strings as if they were in standard because it's easier for me that way. It starts on the 4th fret of the low E string, and it does just a drop chord on the 4th fret, and then it chugs really fast, alternate picks really fast, just as a single note instead of chugging the whole chord. Instead of doing this, it's literally just doing the one string. Kind of gives it that, like, bumblebee type sound effect. So after the 4th fret, it goes down to the 2nd fret, and then it goes back up to the 5th fret. So the riff slowed down sounds like this. And then after that, it does the same type of pattern with strumming, except instead of going back to the 4th fret, it will just go to an open chord with open chugs on the low E string. So the second part of the riff goes. And then it goes to the 2nd fret and the 4th fret. So it's the same pattern, except the frets, instead of it being 4 to 5, it's 0 to 4. So the riff slowed down goes. And at full speed, the entire riff, when played properly, sounds like this. Now the verse riff is just a variation of the intro riff. So the notes are going to be exactly the same. The only difference is the way that it is picked. The picking pattern is completely different. So played at normal speed, the verse riff will sound like this. So the only difference there, as you can see, is the picking pattern. The notes are exactly the same. For that riff, I'm going to play it slowed down now, just so you guys can kind of see exactly what's going on. The chorus riff is in 4/4 timing. So that is the first switch from 3/4 to 4/4. The chorus riff utilizes a full power chord. It starts at a C power chord position. Once again, I'm referencing what a C power chord would be if it was in standard tuning. So I'm going to use the term position because that's what the position would be to play a C power chord if you were in standard tuning, but keep in mind, once again, the song is in drop C sharp. So it starts off in a C power chord position, and then you go up to a D power chord position, and you strum both of those chords. You don't slide. You actually strum both of them. And then it alternate picks the low E string in between power chords for the next part of it. So it will go like this. And the second part with your index finger on the 6th fret of the A string, and your ring finger on the 8th fret of the D string, and your pinky finger on the 8th fret of the G string. That chord position, and then it goes back down to the 5, 5, 7, 7, which would be a D power chord. So, and then you follow that up with the alternate picking of the low E string. So all in all, slowed down, the entire chorus riff sounds like this. And at full speed, the riff sounds like this. The next riff I'm about to show you is back into 3/4 timing. This is the first section of the bridge riff, and it starts off on the 8th fret of the low E string and goes down to the 6th fret of the low E string, and then you do an open strum of the low E string, and then you go back to 6 and then 5, and then open again. So that would be 8, 6, open, 6, 5, open. So that little tiny part sounds like. And then right after that, you're following it with 4 open strums of the drop chord. So it sounds like, when you combine those two, it'll go. And then at the last repetition of that, because there's 4 repetitions of the riff before the entire riff just repeats itself again, you just quickly go down to pressing down the 1st fret of the low E and A strings to do that chord. So basically the entire riff slowed down will go. And at full speed, the riff will go. The second section of the bridge riff is still in 3/4 timing, and the part starts off on the 8th fret of the low E string and then goes up to the 10th fret, and it is played like this. So you're hitting the 8th fret of the low E string and hammering on to the 10th fret for the first hit of the note, and then you're strumming the rest of them, so it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with the first note being hammered onto. And then after that, you play the 8th fret of the A string, and then immediately go down to the 6th fret of the A string. So that riff slowed down, that entire portion of the riff goes. And at full speed, that part goes. Except for that last repetition, you're just going to do the open chord. So instead of going on the last repetition, you're going to go. So that entire riff at normal speed shall sound like this. The solo riff is back in 4/4 timing, and what you're going to do is it's mainly reliant on open strums of the low E string and just the open drop chord. But you will be hitting this drop chord right here in between strums. So the riff slowed down is going to sound like this. And basically, that chord that you're going to be playing there will be the 6th fret of the low E and A strings. And the chords that you're going to play after that are the position where your left index finger is going to be placed on the 6th fret of the A string, and 8th fret of the bottom, the strings following that, will be where your ring finger and pinky finger go. So that will immediately slide down 1 fret to the D position, and then from there you're going to slide down 2 frets to the C position. So basically that progression will go, and that entire riff slowed down will sound like. And at normal speed, it should sound like this. So for the actual riffs in the song, the first one I wanted to show you guys is actually the verse riff. I actually, once again, this was not intended, and it just kind of happened, and I didn't really realize it until after, but it doesn't sound like any specific Trivium song, but this part that I wrote really reminds me of something that Trivium would write, and I love Trivium. They're amazing, and I really like how this riff turned out. So without any further ado, here is the verse riff. The thing I like most about the chorus riff and the drums is that they're very tight to each other, and I'm just going to let you listen to it for yourself. The second part of the bridge riff goes right into the solo riff, and the entire bridge is in 3/4 timing, and the solo is in 4/4 timing. And this is just kind of another example of an abrupt change in time signature and overall speed in the song. So this is the second part of the bridge riff going into the solo riff. And that does it for today's video. The next time I'm going to see you guys, I'll be doing vocals for the first song. We'll be revisiting that first song that I did guitars for. The first video that is on the channel. I'm going to be doing vocals on that song, so that will be the next video you guys will be watching. So, well, have a good day. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you subscribed. And here are a couple things you can click on the screen that'll lead you to other videos and other things, like maybe, you know, a little subscribe button down here in the bottom left, and, you know, something up there, something maybe, I don't fucking know where it's gonna go. See ya!